Hi.
Hi. Welcome to the OC, bitches.
Welcome, all. Hello.
Hello.
I'm really excited today.
I'm really excited because this is one of my favorite people involved with the OC. So, guys, we have a very special guest today. This man, his resume is huge. This man has directed over 260 episodes of TV. If you've watched television, you probably watched something he's directed. He started with The Fall Guy in 1981.
Yeah, that's the year I was born.
I know. And he ended up doing 13 episodes that were the OC. And he has a recording company. Correct me if this is still happening or not. Producing parody music with a Jewish spin. And he has a radio show podcast called From the Set with director Michael Lange. He is Uncle Mike to us. He is funny.
Yep.
Right, Rachel? He's here.
Yeah. I believe I coined Uncle Mike.
Did you?
I think you did.
I did.
He is Michael Lange.
Michael Lange is here.
Yay.
Uncle Mike.
Yay.
Shalom.
So
Shalom.
this is old hat to you. You do have a podcast, or is it still going, or?
It is. Well, it kind of got a little sidetracked with COVID.
Okay.
But it had been going pretty strong. I think at one point the producer said I had like 250,000 listeners.
Oh my
which
gosh.
was crazy.
Whoa.
Because I think, who the heck wants to hear some old guy talk about the old days before they were born? But I guess a lot of people did. But, and it was fun. It's kind of a funny show. And occasionally I have guests, although usually the producer is also a co-host of the show, Ethan Dettenmeyer.
Uh-huh.
And usually the shows are best when it's just me and him sort of riffing.
Do you have any advice for Rachel and me then?
Just keep it loose.
We're definitely loose around
here. Yeah, loose is good. And I think people like to hear, from our perspective, like how we see the business and whatever. And of course, my perspective is a little bit. It's a comedic disdain for everything, which is a fairly typical Jewish way to live. But that's how we've survived for all these years, comedic disdain.
That's right. Speaking of which, Josh Schwartz says hello.
Did you and Josh bond over that sense of humor? Because Josh clearly, that's a big theme in our show in the OC.
Yeah, I think we did. It's funny because I vividly, I haven't thought of the show. That's not really true. I think of the show semi-often, but I hadn't thought of it in any kind of detail until, I was preparing for this podcast. And I remember my very first meeting with Josh, and I think he was 14 years old or something at the time. I'm joking. I think he was but he was in his mid to late 20s, I think.
He was in it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so here I am with a huge amount of experience. And my attitude has always been, I probably know way more about production and the business than he does. However, he knows enough to have a series on television. So that's pretty good, right?
There's one thing there, yeah.
Yeah. So I was, super, impressed and he's a very smart, impressive guy. And I remember vividly that his whole thing on the OC was every frame needed to make the audience want to go there. Every frame of the show had to be like, I want to go. And looking at the show, almost 20 years later now, it totally worked because the whole opening of the show is like, man, I want to go there. The other interesting thing, sort of in a broad sense, looking back at the show, is how how much social commentary the show really brought to television, and in a good way, because here are all these people who have everything. They don't want for anything in the world, and yet they have all the same problems that all of us do. they can afford to do something about them probably more than other people can. But and then how would you make that show today? Obviously, it would be more diverse, because that was the other thing that hit me is how white the show is. Although, of course, the doctor was an African American woman. But I think it would be a different show today, but I think it would be equally as impactful as it was
Absolutely.
then. I have a funny story. Well, it's not much of a story, but I remember there was one scene we were doing. I don't remember what episode it was or season or whatever, but I was convinced that I needed to chew gum in the scene. And you fought me on it so hard. And I was like, no, Uncle Mike, you don't understand. That is normal. That is real. I want to be real. I want to be chewing gum. And I think I may have won in the end, but you put up a really good fight. You were like, absolutely not, Bilson. No chewing gum. It's not going to happen. But I do feel like I may have won. Do you remember that at all?
I think you probably did. Ultimately, the actor should always win because, I think the whole, I'm not kidding. The thing about one of the things I really love about what we do is that interaction between, the arguments. And I always think if someone is willing to argue to the point where they make the point, then then it should be that way. So, if I was able to talk you out of it, then that would be correct also, because it would mean you didn't believe in it enough. But if you believed in it enough to argue with me and win, that means it's the right choice.
I like that mentality.
I think television especially, all of this is a very collaborative process, but television especially lends itself to young actors experimenting, trying things. And if it works, okay, you move on to the next thing, or they might use it in editing, they might not. So if it were so regimented and there was, somebody, a dictator telling us exactly how to say it, there would be no joy in that process.
Yep, it would be horrible.
Is that like
the beauty of like that's as a director? So I do a lot of prep and I make a shot list, and it's pretty specific, and I not always, but most of the time I know how I want a scene to go, and generally I try to gently push everyone in that direction. But a lot of times, I always feel like if you're too attached to your plan, then the magic is never going to happen. Because that's when the magic happens, is when something unforeseen. I always hope that some magical thing is going to happen. Like you'll say, I want to chew gum. And I'll say, no, we can't chew gum because I didn't think, I wouldn't say I didn't think of it in advance, but, and then eventually you'll end up chewing gum, and that'll make the scene a million times better than I ever thought it could be. Maybe not a million times better. Maybe.
It's a million. Let's go with a million.
Yeah. Were you happy with your choice, Rachel? Do you know?
I was.
Super satisfied?
Yes. Any of that real stuff.
I remember a scene with you, Julie, Melinda, it wasn't in this eepisode, but it was a scene that was a super emotional scene with Ryan.
It's the end. We're bringing that up now.
Was it?
It was. No, I remember that scene, and I do remember exactly what happened.
And we shot him first. We shot the master, and then we shot him first for some reason, even though you had all of the emotional work in the scene.
If I may, it was the first 3 months of the 4th season, and Marissa had died, and every scene was this catatonic, emotional, and I was just working it, and I was crying here and crying there and being all this. And it was 2 a.m. And when we came into the scene, the camera was on Ben, and you could just see the tears streaming down my face off off here. And for some reason at 2 a.m., here's the close up, and 3 months, all of it was gone as an actor. It was just gone. And Mike goes, are you going to be able to match those tears? And I went, and all of a sudden, of course, once you say that, it's like done. And I was like, the emotion's there, but for some reason, my grieving process is over and I'm better. Right. And there's the close up, and it's not going to be this but yeah, that happens.
But I remember what made me think of it when I was watching this episode is the music in the show was also a huge part. It was almost another character in the show. And
Yes.
I remembered that scene because I think I said something like, "Don't worry too much because the music will make the audience fill in the
It's
tears
still
that are not
an
in the
emotional
shot."
scene, yes, but I didn't
Yeah.
as actors, that's just mortifying. And Cindy, our makeup artist, is like, "Do you want the glycerin eye drops?" And I was like, "No, I'm a real actor." And of
No.
course, I should have taken the glycerin eye drops to match it. And
Yeah.
these are lessons
Seen
that
it?
we learn.
That's right. Well, today it'll be easy. You just CGI some tears in there, no problem.
Right.
I know, but that was like a hang up of mine coming from the soap. You know, there were actors who could
Right.
literally, they could drop a tear and they could drop it right on the correct word.
Oh, well, that was Misha. Misha could
Yes.
cry on cue like nothing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I was always
she's
so
amazing.
amazed. Yes.
But you
Yeah.
did 13 episodes, which means we really loved you. Not all directors get asked back. Why do you think you were so popular with us?
Oh, I don't know. I think let's start with, I would say, because I'm kind of funny and I'm easy to get along with.
Mhm.
That would not be the main reason. I think the main reason
That
is because that could be.
It's not up to the actors, right? No.
Right. But I think, my episodes end up good. I know what I'm doing,
Right.
and I do a good job. I'm efficient. I don't really spend a lot of time talking because unless I'm on a podcast, but on the set, I think everyone should come prepared and knowing what they're going to do, and there shouldn't be a lot of discussion. But, I try to give a note. I know there are directors who give a ton of notes after each take, and I always think it's stupid because then the next take is going to be the actor thinking about all those notes instead of just doing the scene. So it'd be better to sort of consolidate all of those words into one word, like slower, whatever.
Better.
Better, yeah.
Yeah, better.
Act better.
Yeah, act better. I think TV is a perfect medium for me because it's all you have to do as a TV director is direct. Like the crew's already set and they're always going to be good. I've worked with very few bad TV crews. And the scripts are there. They've been worked on. They've been developed. Everything's there. The actors are there. You go in, you work with them. Like I said, the level of excellence in TV crews and actors is usually pretty darn high. And it's just a pleasure. You just go in and direct. Whereas on a feature film, you're developing the script for months without directing, and then you're meeting all, having to be involved with hiring the crew. And because, in low budget films, the crews are not going to be as good, with all due respect to the low budget filmmakers. They're just not going to have that level of expertise that TV crews have. And it's just not, it's creatively, you could say it's more rewarding. The director certainly has a bigger impact on the final product, on the creative end of it in a feature film, but that's so overrated in my opinion.
All of Carib's products are formulated with good-for-you clean ingredients that are backed by science.
Care of is super transparent about the research and sourcing behind each one of their products.
I took the online quiz and it asked me questions about my diet and my lifestyle, and then they provided me with customized vitamins and supplements. I love the plant-based protein. I use it before workouts, after workouts, and it's very delicious.
Yeah, I received the vitamins and they came in these like really cute individually wrapped packages, which for me, I love organization when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I can just like grab it. I know what to take. I don't have to think about it, which is also key for a single mother. So it makes my life pretty easy.
With Care of, you can get a personally tailored approach to your unique health needs. And you can retake the quiz at any time as your goals and needs change.
For 50% off your first Care of order, go to takecareof.com and enter code TheOC50. That's takecareof.com and enter code TheOC50 for 50% off your first Care of order. Storyworth. If there's ever been a year to make the dads in your life feel loved and appreciated on Father's Day, it's this one. It's been a rough year. In my own personal experience, Briar's father really stepped up to the plate, and I'm just proud of the whole situation. being a separated family, we still made it work. And things like this, I just think it's such a nice way to honor that. So that's why I'm honoring Briar's father with a heartfelt, sentimental gift the whole family can cherish together forever, whether you're actually together or not. Storyworth.
Storyworth is an online service that helps your dad, grandfather, father-in-law, and every father figure in your life share stories through thought-provoking questions about their memories and personal thoughts. It's a fun new way to engage with them, especially if you can't be together in person.
Every week, Storyworth emails your dad a different story prompt. Questions you've never thought to ask, like, what's your favorite story about your father? And how did your parents pick your name?
Storyworth has helped numerous families learn about each other in profound, special ways, and their testimonials will practically move you to tears. It's provided me with such a unique gift to give my loved ones this year. It's a way more meaningful thing than a golf shirt or a tie. I think my father-in-law would love this, and my brother, and any father figure in your life would definitely love this.
After 1 year, Storyworth will compile all your dad's stories, including photos, into a beautiful keepsake book that's shipped for free.
Give your dad the most meaningful gift this Father's Day with Storyworth. Get started right away with no shipping required by going to storyworth.com/theoc. You'll get $10 off your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/theoc for $10 off. So, Rachel, because Michael directed this episode, let's get into it.
Well, this is right after the OD in Mexico where Marissa overdoses in Tijuana. Julie wants to ship Marissa to an institute in San Diego after she OD'd in Mexico. Ryan, Seth, and Summer won't let that happen, so they plan her escape from the hospital. Directed by our lovely Michael Lange, written by Alan Heinberg and Melissa Rosenberg. This was a good episode. Gotta say.
It was good.
This is the first one you did, right?
This is the first one, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I got asked back 12 more times. So
you did. So you did well.
Did you have some initial
swinging.
thoughts when you first watched it? Did you watch it yesterday, this week?
I watched it actually last week, and then I watched it again a couple of days ago.
It's a pretty serious episode.
Yes, super serious.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said earlier, I mean, the sort of social commentary of it hit me really hard. That and also it's the first season, so Ryan is fresh out of the hood, and
in rescue
so all of that
mode.
stuff, and the relationship that you had with him, Melinda, and it was really cool. It was really cool. And of course, Peter Gallagher was at his finest of,
right.
When he moves to that law firm that's just all about the corporate stuff. And
yeah.
So it was great. It was great to watch it. And I'm pretty sure that was the first time that the show went to that school.
Yes. Yeah, we were going to talk about that.
Location.
You got to shoot Harbor High on that location to see
Mount
it for
St.
the first
Mary's.
time.
Yeah,
Mount St. Mary's
Mount St. Mary's.
Brentwood,
and actually,
California.
there was I had a funny memory of I had an intern, this guy from Indiana, and he was now on the OC, which and I wanted to buy coffee for the camera crew, right?
Yeah.
So there was no way to get it. We were up in the middle of nowhere. So I sent him. At that point I had a Porsche, convertible Porsche. So I gave my American Express card, and I gave my Visa card, and I gave like $200 in cash to this college kid and sent him off. And I realized there'd be too many coffees for just him to carry. So I sent him off with Misha's stand-in. I think her name was Kristen something, who was equally as beautiful as Misha.
Yes.
Or in the same arena anyway. So and the top was down. It was of course a beautiful Southern California day, and the top is down, and I see them driving off. This blonde and this redheaded college kid driving off in my car with my 2 credit cards, a bunch of cash, and I thought, I'm never going to see them again.
Right? Why not? Keep going up the coast.
That's right.
But they did come back.
They came back. That's a lot of coffee, though, even for two people. I'm actually surprised they pulled it off in a Porsche. Where are you going to put it all? This is a very interesting story.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was good. But,
well, that's also shows how kind you are and how awesome you are to work with. Just treating everybody that day.
That's right.
I noticed in the first scene of this episode, the size of the butter crock of whatever fake butter. It was literally like a huge gallon tube that Kelly has that she's trying. And I was like, what? That is a very large bucket of margarine. Okay.
I mean, that's the other thing is that it's cool looking at this that was all a set and it looks really good. It's still, I mean, I didn't watch it on a big TV, but it looks very authentic.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks
so that
like
first scene, is very, very, it's very serious. Usually the Coen breakfast morning scenes are kind of funny and everybody's joking. Right. And this one had a completely different feeling. It was, that terrible feeling of waiting for the phone to ring, which it does. And it's a big gulp. So then we cut to the hospital and Marissa's there and Jimmy's there. And it's a, very somber, thank God she's alive moment. And then, of course, the tiger lady, Julie, walks in with just absolute... I'm going to say this many times here that she just seems like such a bitch, which she is, but ultimately she's terrified.
Yeah.
And she's only doing what's right. Yeah. We don't play
Right.
bitches as bitches. You just play with the truth of, I need to assign blame to what just happened to my daughter because it's certainly not my fault, which is, of course, another problem in itself, right?
It was kind of shocking, that scene, because, yes, prefaced by the somber breakfast scene. But then when you came in and it was like, why are they here? And Jimmy, it really set up the relationships really well. Like Jimmy's like sort of backpedaling, well, because I asked them to be here and shouldn't they be here? And it was good. And when you came in, even though, you said you were bitchy, I didn't look at it that way at all. I think here's a mother that is super protective of her daughter who almost died.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel bitchy to me.
That's true. No, I think she, and like I've told people, I've never ever played her as a villain or a bitch. She might be misguided by other people's opinions, but her truth is her truth because
exactly. And that's why it worked.
Yeah. And in this scene where Julie asks to speak to Ryan and blames him for almost killing, I wrote, don't fuck with me or my daughter, fella. That was my note and it was threatening and it was, but then we find out that Ryan's like, I'm not scared of her.
Yeah.
And Marissa's like, I am. And,
I know. I like that moment where she's like, I am.
I had forgotten that your character, Melinda, was from Riverside or something.
Right.
Also
like
from
that's the worst.
area.
The worst insult ever. What?
The reason why the show worked so well, though, is because all of the actors played it that way. Because the arena in which the show took place was already heightened, obviously. But if you guys had also played it heightened, then we wouldn't be having this conversation today. The show would have been just, looking back on it, it would have just seemed like some weird, cartoonish, melodrama.
This whole episode, Mindy, like Julie is just, understandably so, kind of like flailing what to do. But some of the things are so shocking, like bringing the psychiatrist in and wanting to admit Marissa. Watching it, I was going, oh, fuck, that's a big, it's almost like, there's like protective mother, but that's just like a step beyond where you're wanting to admit her to a psych ward, essentially.
She's like a Tasmanian devil saying, this is my world and the world revolves around me and I'm controlling all of you, which is a classic human flaw in the history of humankind. And I think that literally comes from that deep, deep love of a child and protection. And where we see how Kirsten and Sandy parent, and Jimmy, who's so likable but still such a bad parent. But and it's so self-centered and narcissistic to say this is the, because somebody might think, oh, Julie's just trying to get rid of her daughter. No, she really is trying to protect and do what she thinks is the best and get in front of it, as opposed to, I've got to treat my daughter with some compassion, and she's on a journey. And what's my responsibility in why my daughter's acting this way? She's not thinking that way at all. She's got this perfectionist attitude. It's got to be Ryan. It's got to be Jimmy. And it's, and that's what's really can be so damaging for a child. It's like, just hear me. Do you really? And she's very wise to understand that there's a lot going on with her parents, and you think it's me? God, Mom, won't you listen? So I love these themes. As you know, my daughter was only 3 when this came out, but now she's 21. So I've lived through the teen years. It's more significant to me.
To me, the only moment that felt super manipulative is when you went to the doctor and said, "I've discussed it with my husband, and we definitely want to send her down." That was like, boy,
oh, she's manipulative for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything still felt very. I totally was kind of with her in a way, or certainly understood her.
And you did it all in a tube top, which I noted.
Well, I got to say this, and this is the little vanity, or I thought it was like when we first see Julie, when she first comes in and the Cohens are there, my hair's a little mussed, it's not perfect. And and I think, I don't know if I did this on purpose, but it's possible that it's like, Julie's just slightly off. You're not going to see her shaking or really upset, but that hair out of place, that's her little kink. It. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, I also loved in this episode, how the kids are planning on breaking Marissa out of the hospital. And when the scene pops up and I'm in the candy striper outfit.
It's so hot.
That's
but I remember seeing that again. And I remember actually shooting that day and being in this costume. And it's just like, yep, that's what she does as her volunteer work. Puts on this little candy striper perfect outfit and wheels around the hospital.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And it also, this is also where there's a little bit more of what's underneath Summer that's revealed when they're talking about Madame Bovary, and they have the book cart in front of them, and then you're starting to see a little more of her. So it's pivotal in that way for Seth and Summer this episode. And of course, she has the extra candy striper outfit for Marissa to put on to escape. I mean, the most beautiful candy striper ever. Misha walks out. Yeah, she didn't just OD. She's gonna walk on out of here.
Yep.
But there's so much going on, and the stuff with you, Mindy, and Ryan. When he's in there and he's hearing everything, and the flowers, and of course you're like, where'd those come from? They're from him, aren't they?
That's right. That was good.
I remember, Rachel. Do you remember we used to go to McGee's to watch the episodes when they first came on? And then we'd go to Adam's and Brett's place. And for some reason, I remember, I don't know where we were, but watching this episode with cast, crew, whatever, the group of people. And it's a serious episode. But as soon as Julie takes those flowers and drops them, it was a huge crowd of belly laughing, oh.
Right. And I remember shooting the insert of the thing because I wanted it to go into a certain way, and I don't think you were there, Melinda, when we shot the insert.
Yeah, but of course.
It was it took forever to get the thing to land exactly the way I wanted it.
Right. So an insert, maybe you should explain what an insert is.
Oh, yeah, I could. An insert is, in that particular scene, when Julie drops the flowers into the garbage can, and we went to a close-up of that happening, that's called an insert. Or if someone looks at their phone, they don't do it so much anymore, but if they look at their phone for a text and you cut to a shot of the phone and you see the text, that would be an insert.
Thank you for explaining that.
You're welcome. A pleasure. I'll send the bill through the DGA. You'll get
I wanted to
the
just make
other
a
thing
quick,
before we go
ahead.
past this, the thing with the Madame Bovary, which I loved that scene, and then
Yeah.
when they're coming down the hall to get Marissa, and then Adam starts doing all the signs and everything, and you say, "I wasn't in Panama. What are you saying?"
Right? I'll run
Right,
interference. Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to be on a strict diet, do 2 days at the gym, or drink questionable teas. I mean, I know I've had some bad experiences with Smooth Move. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm such a fan of Noom.
Noom uses a psychology-based approach to help users lose weight and eat healthier.
There's no strict rules or deprivation, but rather with Noom's cognitive behavioral approach, you'll focus on the why instead of the what to change your relationship with eating.
I think it's such a great tool because when I changed my thinking about diet and exercise, it became a lifestyle, not just a fad. With Noom as a guide, every choice I make benefits me and it keeps me balanced. And a balanced me is a truly happy me.
Noom is empowering, not stress-inducing. Noom has an empathetic approach that will help you get back on track if you slip up. And it really only takes about 10 minutes a day. I have used the app to track foods and it's really pretty fun and informative. I mean, I really didn't know anything about what I was eating before, and it just feels good to be educated on these things that are being put into my body.
Start building better habits for healthier long-term results. Sign up for your trial at Noom.com/OC. That's NOOM.com/OC for your trial. This past year, I made so many quarantine purchases like takeout food, streaming movies, puzzles. I did a lot of arts and crafts because I'm now a DIYer.
Yes, I definitely spent some money on a lot of matching sweatsuits, all comfy clothing, many, 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 many cozy socks. But one of the biggest purchases of the year that you may have overspent on, insurance.
Americans overspend on car and home insurance by billions every year. That's money you could have spent on more retail therapy. That's where the Zebra can help you.
The Zebra is the nation's leading insurance comparison site for car and home insurance. It's so simple to use. I don't see why you wouldn't give it a try. All you do is put in your zip code and answer a few questions. And in minutes, you can compare policies from every major provider for free, all on one independent marketplace.
And I don't love dealing with insurance. I mean, who does? But the Zebra makes it really easy to find the best rates. They don't have any stake in what policy you choose, so you know they are getting you the best deal.
Make insurance your smartest purchase yet. Visit thezebra.com/OC to get your free quote today. That's thezebra.com/OC. Well, I know we're jumping around a bit, but I can't go past the fact that this episode is where we meet Captain Oates.
That's right.
And
this is the first time we see Captain Oates. And I mean, I feel like that's a big deal. He was a big part of the show. Yeah. But Adam, and even in that scene where I show up to his room, again, teenagers just show up to the front door is their bedroom door. This is a theme that we see in every episode, that no one goes to the front door. They just show up at the bedroom door. But Summer knocks and Seth's like, "Go away, Mom, I'm naked." She's like, "Ew."
That's right.
There's like a theme. I think he did that with Sandy earlier or something.
Well, he did it. Yeah, he did it actually with Kirsten earlier, because he didn't want her to interrupt Brian. Brian was doing either studying or something.
Right.
Or maybe he wasn't there, and he didn't want her to go in and find out he wasn't there.
Right. Oh, that should be our drinking game. Every time someone just goes to a bedroom door instead of the front door, you drink. Sorry.
That would be good.
That was one of the hottest summer outfits that I've seen.
Oh, and I wear it the whole show, I think. I feel like aside from the candy striper.
Right.
It was like a one-day episode, right? Where the episode just takes place over one day.
Did it? I guess it did, yeah.
I wanted to make a really quick note of, Sandy's first day on the job, and I thought it was very funny where he's reading these case files about the funny rich people ones, the chemical peel gone awry, and the noise complaint on the yacht. But because we're in a podcast, I actually was looking at because they've been sent to me, the podcast charts and what's trending right now. Do you know what the number one podcast, or at least, because they can change at any given moment, the most popular podcast is called The OC Swingers. It's true crime in the OC. It's rich people doing really bad things.
Whoa.
Really?
That's it. The other thing going on is Ryan and Kirsten meet with Dr. Kim. This is Rosalind Chow, our Dr. Kim. She's a wonderful actress. I see her in quite a few films nowadays.
And they're trying to get Ryan into Harbor, and she's making it pretty difficult for him. But he stands up for himself as Ryan. Ryan's pretty fearless as well.
Yep, he is. Actually, that's the other interesting thing, is how he's able to stand up to adults, authority figure adults in a good, not aggressive really, but a very firm way, which was kind of pretty cool, I thought.
He speaks up when it's necessary. And he doesn't overspeak.
And I thought that was kind of a good sort of role model thing for kids in general, to not just always, take things at face value from adults, to stand up to them, but in a way that's not really, he wasn't really aggressive about it. He was just firm.
Right.
In his no understanding who he was and dealing with her from a position of who he actually was, as opposed to who she thought he should be or was.
Right. If teenagers learn to, if they learn how to talk to adults at a young age, or if you have educators who talk to teenagers, it's such a great learning experience in their high school years to go on to college, and it's a great lesson for life, as opposed to going. And that's what, I will say this, private schools, because there's smaller numbers and there's a lot more accountability, you're not necessarily, there's a lot more interaction with the teachers. And I also wanted to say, not only did the Coens bring Ryan into the fold, they're probably footing the bill for a pretty expensive private school. These are some generous people. I wanted to make a point about a scene that when Seth and Summer are worried about Marissa, this is such a sweet scene and concern from Seth with no jokes.
Which one is it?
You guys are at school during registration, and he's like, maybe we'll take her to Six Flags. Maybe, when she gets better. It was just, we don't always see those scenes from Seth.
Oh, at lunch, we're like oh no.
It's registration day and you're at school.
Lunch, outside.
I guess lunch.
Right?
You're sitting at the table. Yeah.
Sorry, I need a visual.
Is that when the three girls walked by and they sort of gave a look because she was with Seth?
Yeah.
And then I feel bad for him. He's like, fine, right. Once school starts, this ends. I felt bad for him. Yeah.
It is sad. It ends well, though.
I like this scene. So the scene between Jimmy and Julie, when Marissa's asleep, and Julie goes, I don't like that Brian. It's Ryan.
I know. It was so good. Purposely, Brian, on purpose.
And then Marissa, we think she's asleep. She does what you just said, Rachel. A tear falls from her eye. And
perfectly.
Was this in the script? Was there direction on this, or did it just happen?
That is a good question. I wish I could remember that.
Yeah.
I can't remember specific. I'd love to say it was my idea, but I can't really honestly say that. I can say it for the podcast.
Sometimes you have to light the tears if you want to see them. Sometimes they get, yeah, I know. Like, I was crying my eyes out. Did you catch it? Actually, no, we're kind of wide. Oh, fuck.
That's right.
Crying, I think, is the hardest thing to do naturally. Well, at least for me, it always was. Like crying on cue, it really is a skill. And like I said,
it's a skill.
Misha had that skill down pat.
She could do it. There were two of her biggest talents, other than beauty, which she was born with. The crying was impressive. And then also, if I've said this out of the world of the OC a number of times, if I ever had a part where someone had to be wistful, I would call her, because she did wistful, and to this day I've never seen anyone who could do a wistful look as good as she does. It's perfect.
Absolutely.
A lot happens in this episode. Ryan winds up getting into harbor. Marissa stands up to Julie, right?
Which
and
was
says
a great scene.
Oh, my heart when she says she wants to live with Jimmy, when she wants to live with her dad. Like, as a mom, I felt that, and it's just like, but how you played it, Mindy, was just so beautiful. Like, you can see what's going on inside, but you were just like so stoic,
I remember that day vividly. I remember doing the rehearsal, and I remember thinking in the rehearsal, I knew that I was going to go to that. Like, you don't know what she wants. Like, you are just this kid who's getting in the way of everything and ruining everything. And it was interesting. It's possible Ben saw the scene differently than I did, but in the end, it's the most emotion where he stands up to her, and we don't usually see him that intense because it's interesting. So they matched, and it was like, how is this going on? How is this kid getting involved, and we're allowing this? And it was really just, wow, just pulling this, this woman who's, like I said, everything revolves around her, but just absolutely terrifying. And that was one of those moments. And I remember in that shot, somehow, when I flip around and the coverage was on me and I see Marissa for that first time, the floodgates happened. Like, it was real. And that's the first time you saw Julie with that, oh, God, you're okay. And I definitely had to tap into, I came to have such fond feelings for Misha in real life. And it happened on that day. It's not always consistent. Because we work so quickly, but it was very, very satisfying. And that scene was it was heartbreaking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because she shows that vulnerability, and they won. And instead of going, okay, it's like, this isn't over. Like, her ego, but ultimately she's saying, you're safe. I'm good. Okay. But I'm still pissed off,
But I feel like, though, at the end, which was great that she said this isn't over, but I think there was a moment before that when she was really letting it in, and then you could just see in your performance, it was just like you were sort of open to it, and then bam, it closed back up, and you just completely shifted back. Because there was a moment there when I felt like you were going to say, okay, I understand that. You know what? I'm hearing you for the first time.
She says, because you don't know what she wants. And it's, she doesn't want to live with you. And it's like, well, that's when she says, I don't know what to say to this. And then she sees her daughter for the first time, and she's like, I will compromise. I will go to therapy. Please don't send me away. And that's logical.
Oh, you know what else that was really sweet? This is a little before, is when Luke shows up at the hospital.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And he helps them, he helps them get Marissa out of there, which was a glimpse of Luke's, inner self. Anyway, I noted that because I thought that was nice. And
that was a nice moment, because it's like we were thinking, oh my God, is he gonna blow the whistle on them? But then he ends up realizing the state that they were in and sort of let that go. Yeah, which was cool.
I do think Ryan got pretty lucky ditching. He Dr. Kim gives him a chance, and then he has this bad habit of racing to Marissa's rescue in the middle of a test. And luckily, she lets him, take the test again. And, of course, with Sandy saying, go explain yourself. And I think he's pretty lucky in that one. But
yeah. Oh, for sure.
But we have to comment on the last scene of the episode. So well, it's just another classic Sandy Seth thing.
Oh, but you know what I laughed out loud watching was when we're at the pool, like towards the end. I think Kirsten comes out to talk to Seth, and when he's like, it's pronounced Tijuana. However Brody
she
did it.
She said Tijuana, and he goes, it's Tijuana.
Oh, Tijuana.
I laughed
You're
out
so
loud
white.
At
was that a Brody thing?
Probably.
I'm sure it was. I can't imagine anyone writing that.
Fair point. But yeah, the end scene, Mindy, it's really sweet. Another Sandy, Seth, like the eyebrows, he's giving him a hard time about his eyebrows and the riffing. Is that what you were going to comment on?
Well, yeah. First, before they're waiting, and they're slapping each other.
Right.
First,
Chummy.
and then
Yeah.
And he's like, "You passed. You're going to harbor. You're a pirate." And he's like, "You guys are the pirates." I know, it's a bit minty. He loves saying that. And yes, and then he comments on, "Dad, those eyebrows are out of control." Well, it's a sign of power, son. Then you must be the most powerful man in the world.
That's right.
Right. Yes.
This episode ends with such a feeling of super deep satisfaction. Not all the episodes do.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, things are going to work out. Like,
things are going to be good.
There's a scene that I wanted to mention in this, which I thought was kind of a fun Josh thing. So when Seth is shocked that Summer read Madame Bovary, this is, first of all, it's the beginning of some very classic Summer is super smart clues. And she says that she read it 5 times because Tom Shales is the patient, and she better get to him quickly because he's incontinent, right? Well, Tom Shales was a critic who wrote a pretty scathing review of the OC. So Josh named him as a patient, an incontinent patient. And he even commented on it like, "Touche, you got me." So that's a classic.
That's a fun little thing.
That is so cool. Yeah. I never knew that.
No, that's classic Schwartz, though. That's awesome. How do you feel about answering some quiz questions, Uncle Mike?
Sure.
Where does Dr. Kim first suggest Ryan go to school instead of Harbor?
Ooh, wait. It was It was not as good as Harbor. I think he ended up going there for a period of time, didn't he?
Or maybe Marissa does. She does.
Right.
Remember, she has to leave. It's Newport Union High.
Right, that's it.
And you know how many episodes you directed?
I do. You mean of the OC or in general?
Yes, of the OC.
Do you know both answers?
Well, I knew both answers, yes.
What are both answers?
Well, I've directed 261 episodes of television.
Wow.
And, or it might be 264. Might be 264. And 13 episodes of the OC.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Have you done anything during COVID? Have you directed?
No, haven't. The last show I did was the new version of Charmed.
Oh, okay.
Which
was that in Vancouver,
actually, that was a year or so ago, over a year ago. Yeah, Vancouver.
Yeah.
And I also want to, you actually played a rabbi on the OC.
I did.
Do you remember that?
I did. And actually, I think Josh bamboozled me because I remember.
For Seth's bar mitzvah?
That's right. Bar mitzvah. It was a flashback to Seth's bar mitzvah. And this was hilarious. I was I'm pretty sure I was in Vancouver doing a show, and I get a call from Josh Schwartz. So he says he wants me to be a rabbi. And he sort of implied that it was going to be sort of an ongoing role. So I thought, okay, that'll be fun. So it was more than okay, that'll be fun. It's all I talked about the rest of the day. And I'm sure the crew up there was like, who gives a shit about this? And there was a bunch of funny things that happened. So I was dressed, I was a rabbi. So I'm sitting at Video Village because Ian Toynton was directing. So I was, I'm friends with Ian. So I'm sitting at the Village and we're chatting it up. And this guy comes over to me. I think he was an extra. And I think he assumed that because I was a rabbi, but I was an extra. Why was this extra playing a rabbi sitting at Video Village? So I think he thought I was an actual rabbi. So he says to me, "Rabbi, can I talk to you about something?" And I'm thinking he's kidding, right? So of course I went along with it. Of course you can. So this guy had just gotten divorced, and he was really sad about it, and his whole life was falling apart. And it's like, but I I couldn't now, at this point, I felt like guilty saying, I'm actually not a rabbi.
Oh, no.
So I'm trying to give him some advice and comfort him. And it was very bizarre. I think I helped him.
I bet you did.
But I guess either it was never meant to be an ongoing thing, or I did a horrible job because I never played the rabbi again.
There's probably not many places for a rabbi.
No,
if I had to
not.
Guess.
But it was a lot of fun.
Video Village, for anyone who wants to know, is like where the director and all the people like that who are behind the scenes are watching on a monitor what's happening and what you're shooting, and they call that Video Village, and that's where our lovely Rabbi Lange was sitting that day.
That's right. That was fun.
You really are an actor and a comedian at heart.
Michael, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. It's just, I don't know if you heard me earlier. Josh Schwartz said, please tell him I said hello.
I didn't hear.
Yes, he wanted to make sure I said hello to you.
Good. Well, I'm a big fan of his. But it's been
so nice he's all right. So nice just talking to you. And, I swear it feels like it hasn't even been a day and it's been however many years. But you're just so warm and lovely and funny. And you'll always be my Uncle Mike.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So, Rachel, on this episode, we're doing something new, kind of exciting for us.
Yes. We have a couple of fans, I hope they're fans, calling in to ask us live some questions. And we've never done this before, and I'm really excited about it.
Absolutely.
Let's talk to them.
Hi.
Hi, David.
David, yes. Welcome to the OC Bitches.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, I'm very excited. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you here.
So, Melinda, my wife and I, when we bathe our dogs, we call them doctors. I don't know if you want to coin that one, but they freak out. So we like to sing to them. We sing Whitney Houston. We sing Disney. We sing Night Moves. Does that sound familiar at all?
Yes. Julie loves her Bob Seger. And I recently actually did a little night move Saturday dance and put that out on Instagram. Yeah, you can go to my page and see that one.
I'm excited to. Did you sing into an ice cream cone?
No, I just sang into my phone. Well, it's one of the things. Can I tell you something? I love to dance. I grew up dancing. I love to dance to music, but I'm not audio. So I never know the actual lyrics to songs. It's actually, I'm one of those people that just makes up things and I move my lips. So, we actually had to, Willa Holland and I had to sing that in the end of the series, if you remember, after the earthquake.
Episode 15, yep.
I had to learn the lyrics, and it's not an easy song to sing. It's actually kind of a difficult song, and it came because I actually trained singing. I thought it was going to be a fun thing, and I just sounded like a bird being squeezed too hard. but my singing was not very good in the episode. But Bob Seger's kind of a challenging song to sing.
But that's what made it so real. That's one of the great things about the show, because the guy's having a fake panic attack, and you're like, throwing out some words here, throwing out more words. I thought it was great.
Right. Oh,
Rachel, when you mentioned that you did the first meet and greet, and you pulled up, and there were, I don't know, hundreds, thousand fans, whatever. So I mean, that was. What was that? It was kind of, I'm assuming it was a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But what I really wanted to ask about that was your next day of filming. What was that? Did you feel more pressure when you realized it was a success?
Oh, wow. There's something you should know about me, David. I don't remember things well. But you know what? I think it was really a wake up for all of us, just realizing like, oh, people really like what we're doing, and I think it was just more of like a good feeling, and it just reassured that we were doing something that we all felt very fond of and thought it was, special in its way. And just to know that other people were kind of feeling that way was just a positive message. And I think we took that and we're just like, cool, let's keep doing this because we're having fun. They're enjoying it. And I think that was probably the biggest takeaway.
So like your next performance, it didn't affect you at all? I know you say you don't have a best memory, but maybe like the
I delivered all my lines through song. Just wanted to keep it interesting. No, I think, I think it definitely,
You had me for a second.
it definitely did give us that little, push to keep doing our best, I would say. Sure. I'm going to say yes, David. Yes.
All right. So I'm wondering, how far in advance did you know about your character arc? And also when you were going forward, did you try to relate back to previous work you did in previous episodes?
Rachel may have had a little bit more info because she was closer to Josh about her character. But we usually get our scripts about maybe a week in advance if we're lucky, depending on the writers on their schedules. I mean, I think at the very least 4 days, 5 days ahead of time we get the scripts, and you can generally tell what's happening. Like when Julie starts having a relationship with Caleb, you can see what's going to happen, or we might get little tidbits here and there. You're going to get a big house, or you're going to get married, or things might happen in that respect. But the great thing about television is that when you do the same character weeks and months at a time, a lot of it, you just know the character that well. And there's not a lot of research or choices start coming naturally. But in respects to the OC, I think the more we would infuse the comedy, we all became a little bit more risk-taking, or at least I did. I know that I would try things, and it just developed more and more from there. And then the writers, it was a very collaborative process in that respect, that I would perform the dialogue, they would get inspired to write certain things, and it's this give and take. And I think it was, it's this very cool organic process that we all get to be a part of. But we know our characters pretty well.
Yeah. Although Josh Schwartz would always tease me and would say that I was going to get eaten by a shark. So that was the only information I really got on what was going to happen.
In a bikini.
Summer only wore bikinis, as we know. But David, thank you so much for calling in and talking to us. We really appreciate it. And those were some fun questions.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
All right, Mindy, what do you think about us taking our next caller?
Let's take the next caller. I'm excited about this caller.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
Nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. We're really not that cool.
You guys, I can't believe you're talking to me right now. This is amazing.
Everybody, this is Katie. You have quite an impressive Instagram account called, do you call it the XOC?
Just the OC, and then I just say with an X instead of the E.
That's how I call it. I'm like, the XOC.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Whatever you say, I'll say from now on.
But it's a very impressive account, and I follow you, and you put together some very impressive edits of episodes and just how you're feeling about the show. And we're doing this podcast for people like you. So I want to thank you so much.
That means so much to me because making those edits, that's what I'm really most passionate about, is making, especially the video edits. So anytime I see you liking or commenting on it, I freak out. But it does mean so much to me, you guys starting the podcast, because I had COVID back in March and it was awful. And when I saw it, literally, it was like, as I was coming out of it, you guys announced you were doing the podcast, and it just made everything so much better.
Oh,
I'm glad to hear that.
Sweet. I'm sorry that you went through that.
No,
My goodness.
it's okay.
But we also heard that you have a very special birthday.
Yeah, tomorrow, 21.
Happy
birthday.
Thank you.
Well, do you have any questions for us? It's your time right now.
Yes, I do. I did write down some questions. Okay. One of them was, I wanted to know if you guys had a favorite scene partner to do in the OC.
Pancakes.
I kind of liked pancakes too.
I get that. Yeah. What about you, Melinda?
No. Well, first, I mean, we said this when my favorite scene partner, or one of them, of course, was Tate Donovan. And it was because the scenes were great. But also, I think just being on set with him was a lot of fun. But then doing scenes with Peter Gallagher, I loved. And also, I really enjoyed my scenes with Misha, very much so. I love the mother-daughter relationship. And, I kind of look at it in a slightly different set of eyes now, as I keep saying. It's sometimes shocking what Julie would say to her. But I do have a lot of fun memories.
Yeah, no, I could see Peter Gallagher being a favorite for sure. He seems like fun.
Yeah. I think you forgot someone, Mindy.
Well, then Rachel and I got to do quite a
Just kidding.
No, actually, but seriously, Rachel, honestly, there's some really lovely, lovely moments in season 4 that Rachel and I obviously shared the loss of the Marissa character, and we ended up, and we were living together, if you remember.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I was living with you?
You were living in.
So Katie, I don't know anything until I watch it. So just to warn you, like, these things are all news to me.
Of course, I'm sitting here going, I know all of this stuff.
You can tell me. I'm just going to come to you, Katie. Yeah. And you can just tell me what is happening in each episode.
I'm always here.
I will say, though, I mean, I said pancakes, but I will say working with Brody was super fun.
Oh, yeah.
He's a very fun person to work with and off of because he is like king of improv. So that was so much fun to do.
Yeah.
But yes.
I was just going to say, like, you can tell how much fun you guys were having. I mean, the chemistry that, like, oozes off onto the screen. I mean, that's why so many people love the show, I think, because it's just, you guys are great.
We all like each other.
I have to say, actually, they started writing for Kelly and myself, Kiki and Juju. That actually was a lot of fun. I should definitely. I mean, you know what? You know what I realized? Yeah. I don't think Julie and Seth ever had like a scene together.
What?
I was thinking, I said this out loud the other night to my husband. I was like, I don't think we've ever acted together.
Did you not?
I don't think so. Maybe kind of in this.
Now I'm going to be watching.
Maybe we were in the same room for Thanksgiving. But yeah, I'll have to look for that.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. I can't think of anything big.
I feel like Katie would know.
No, I know. I'm going through my brain right now and I can't think. You guys have talked in the past about not doing like a reboot, and more recently, you've talked about doing a reunion, right? And I just watched the Friends reunion special, and I was wondering if maybe you guys would want to do something like that, where you get together and you just talk about the show.
Well, that would be so much fun. I haven't watched the Friends reunion yet, but I definitely want to. But it would just be fun. Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I think all of us would just love to get together and catch up, and because like we said, everyone really had a good time, and we talked about getting together. It would be fun to do a reunion, and I would totally be open.
I think that's a great idea, because through this process that Rachel and I are going through, we found that a lot of people aren't embracing the idea of a reboot or anything like that. Like, leave the show as is. And I thought that was a really creative way for Friends to do that. That reunion. I think it would be great. Yeah.
Now, this one was kind of a fun one that's not too creative, but I wanted to know if you can remember, who is your first celebrity crush and who is now your current celebrity crush?
I can answer that pretty quickly.
Okay.
My first crush was Patrick Swayze, because Dirty Dancing.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You already know that. We talked about that. My current crush and forevermore is Larry David.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yep. That doesn't change.
I love Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
How can you not? Dirty Dancing. I mean, come on. Yes.
Right?
Is it
Mindy? Yeah. You can't think. Also, I had Patrick Swayze's picture when I was a kid on my bunk bed ceiling because I was on the bottom bunk. So I would say goodnight to him every night.
Oh my God. Of course, I had John Cena on mine.
Well, we're, different ages. I get it.
Yeah.
I remember in high school, there's a very famous Rob Lowe poster where he's leaning back with this holding up a tank top or something. That was like, so he was definitely pretty much eye candy. I always say Brad Pitt now. I just think he's so,
I mean,
most people do.
Yeah.
I mean, Brad Pitt, Larry David, same wheelhouse.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to know, do you guys have a certain episode that you're excited to get to and while you're rewatching?
It was really fun watching. I just watched the New Year's Eve episode.
I was gonna mention that. That's my favorite episode.
You know what? I just loved it, and I was so caught up in it. And is Ryan gonna get there? Like, she's waiting for him, and she said, "I love you," and you said, "Thank you." And the whole thing. That was a really fun episode.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to talking about it.
I love that episode. I'm not in it, but
oh crap!
I'm not in a few.
I take it back.
I keep saying we're focused on the best season 1, but I'm very excited to get to Julie's bachelorette parties and the shower and the wedding, and it's just the Julie show. So no, but no, I think every episode will be our favorite because that'll be the one we're focusing on. It really is. It's very engaging and addicting.
Yeah. I mean, the minute I started watching the show, it was from the second that Ryan said, "Whoever you want me to be," I had to pause it. I almost screamed, and then I had to watch it all. I watched it all in one summer. I mean, it was just.
Were you a Ryan or a Seth?
It was a lot. I was a Ryan at first. Now I'm much more leaning towards Seth.
Yes, that's the smarter move.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, these were such fun questions. And again, thank you so much. And your Instagram is awesome. So everyone, it's at THXOC, right? Is your Instagram handle. Yeah. And it's so fun. And I love all of the edits you do and how much, attention and time and all of that. I just think it's really awesome. So thank you, Katie, so much.
I'm happy to do
Katie,
it.
happy.
Thank you.
And have an awesome
Happy
21st birthday. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And it's such a pleasure to meet you. And I'll keep an eye on the XOC.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you all so much. Please listen in every Tuesday, or we drop every Tuesday. You can listen whenever you want. So follow, rate, and review. Welcome to the OC Bitches, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you like us, watch us, check it out on YouTube. Have a great day, everyone. We love you.